It's great to be here, Membership Month. And, Mohammed was kind to say that, membership is really important to us. And, a lot of times there's always a discussion, what is Rotary? Is Rotary a membership organization? Is it a service organization? When if you look at our code of policies, that's never a way to start off a good speech, talk about the code of policies. But it's important because Article 5 says we are a membership organization. So I like to say Rotary is a membership organization that does the world's best service. Because, of course, no one joins Rotary to do nothing. They join to engage and they stay. We have an all membership survey every year. It should be coming out soon for 2023, but the 2022 says people stay for service. So membership is so important. But, why do we want to grow membership? PDD George, why do we want to grow membership?
To increase our impact on the community. One of them. There are so many other ones, though.
That's right. We want to increase our impact in the community. So this is an all new presentation that I've never delivered before. I put it together Saturday. And, I was asked, where are we? You hear all these different numbers around the world. And we're planning for our next membership growth committee meeting, which will be September 10th. But these are the newest numbers as of July. And if you look at it from July 1st, 2015 until today, basically, Asia has grown. But the rest of the world, if you're moving across to the right of your screen, Australia and New Zealand, which is one of our two pilot projects, they have decreased despite having that pilot project going. Europe, Africa, Middle East, it has gone down slightly. Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland has gone down from 50,000 to 32. Latin America has decreased, and North America has decreased. So if you look at it, Asia is growing. So I'm on a lot of membership calls monthly. I just got off one last week with the North American directors. And it was stated that Brian King, who's the head staff person in membership development, was saying it's really important to start clubs because in parts of the world like where I live, in North America, we only started 52 clubs last year. And we've lost more than 52 clubs. So, it's interesting because we always ask, and I'm sure it's the same in Egypt from the times I've been there virtually, we ask, how can we grow how can we grow membership? Well, George told us the why. So keep that why in mind. So Rotary has a vision statement. This is where we want to be as an organization. And it says together we, because it takes all of us. One person can do a lot. I see a lot of people on the screen who could do a lot, but together we could do so much more. Together we see a world where people unite to take action, to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves. And we do that through the Rotary Action. So Stephanie's big deal this year, President Stephanie, is she wants to grow Rotary by using the action plan. So George told us the reason why we want to have more hands and hearts for service. So we're Rotary, we want to reach that vision statement, and we want to grow in order to get there. But how do we grow? When I thought about it this weekend, really, there's only three things we have to do to grow Rotary. And I don't care if you focus on one, number two, or number three, just talking about Rotary as leaders in your area of the world will grow Rotary because you have that bully pulpit, as we say in North America, where people want to do what you ask them to do for the betterment of Rotary. So one thing we could do is attract members. Ask everyone you know who would be a good quality member for Rotary, whether you worship with them, whether you work with them, whether they're your relatives, whether they're your friends, workout partners. Ask them to join if you think they would fit. We have to engage, like PDG George was saying, engage our current members in local projects, in international projects, in social events. And then we need to form new clubs. And I see Dr. Jacqueline Wilson, who is one person on the screen who started a new club recently in the last few years of Egyptian doctors who all came from Egypt originally, but now they're practicing around the world. And it's amazing, even from their first year, how much they have done. But there's one other thing we need to consider. So those are the only three things. If you think of a creative idea, that's the fourth one, let me know. But it usually fits under these three. But what wraps around all of that is club culture or the club experience. And the club experience matters more than anything else. You know, I've often heard it said that no one leaves Rotary International, they leave a club. And it makes sense because you're asked by someone, usually 90% of the people who join Rotary didn't come in through a leads program or something like that. They were asked to join by their friends. So they know that one small area of Rotary, which is our club experience. They don't know that there's a district or there's a zone or that you can join a fellowship or an action group or that you can go and watch Ahmad and Claudia do IA by being a paid observer or council legislation. They don't know about all those things. So it's important, first of all, in new member orientations, let them know, but also improve our club experience. So the club experience is basically how things work in your club, how things get done. And if you have a good culture, then you're raising money for TRF, you're recruiting new members. Everything kind of happens itself. You're doing more service projects locally and internationally. You're raising more money for polio. But when you have this good experience, it helps you attract new members because when they visit, they feel this is a vibrant club. They're doing things. I see those people laughing at that party. I want to be a part of that club. And they're honored when you ask them to be, even if they can't join for a reason or two, they're happy when you ask them to join. Then we have to engage our members. And this is all about the retention. And we have this participant-centered approach now at Rotary, where a couple of years ago, they reorganized so that we're all about the participants. And the participant isn't just our Rotary members and not just our Rotarians, our Rotaractors. It's everyone that experiences Rotary, whether it's part of a Rotary community corps, we're working to serve a community together with the community themselves, or if it's a youth exchange student or a Rotec student, anyone that meets us. And then forming new clubs. Having a good culture sometimes leads to satellite clubs, companion clubs, service clubs, other clubs that either stay a part of your club or that go off and start their own, which do things with them even after they start their own club. So I'm going to talk about that's kind of why we want to grow, how we grow. But let's talk about the new things that Rotary's doing that's actually going to help us going forward here. And I'd love to hear from our Rotaractors because I spent an hour and a half with John Hannes on the phone on Friday about all the great things that are happening in Rotary International for Rotaractors. So I'm glad to see there's 4 Rotaract clubs here. But membership leads is something that's changing in Rotary. You know, we have at the last bullet point on the bottom right, you see a 10.6 conversion rate. So these are people calling up Rotary and saying, I want to join. I saw your website, or I've seen your people doing wonderful local service or international service, or I heard about my neighbor who's hosting an exchange student. They want to join, but no one has asked them to join. 10.6 is a really low conversion rate. And we've been studying this for years. We've been trying to get it to go. But right now, the current system actually goes to the district, and there's a series of steps before they get assigned to a club and they get invited to a club. So over the last year, Rotary International has been working with Salesforce, which is a company that works for-profit companies and nonprofit companies, but they're helping us change this lead program. And nothing always starts exactly when it's supposed to start. But when I say it's starting, it should sometime in the next few months be working. And what it's going to do is it's going to be different than our current leads program because instead of going to the district, it's going to go through a series of analysis of questions by the person getting on the computer and saying, I want to join Rotary, will lead them straight to a club. So we think this is going to have a big deal. Effect, and we're going to attract a lot of members and keep them in. So that's the attraction part. So we all have to do our part as Rotary leaders to ask people to join, but this is one thing that Rotary International is going to do to make things better and make it easier for us. We have so many great tools in Rotary, whether it be membership or the strategic plan. And if you ever need those tools and you're finding them hard to find on the computer, just reach out to any of the leaders here on the screen or to me, and we'll be happy to help you get those tools. So when it comes, so we bring them in, we have to engage them. And, we get about 150,000 new Rotarians every year. The sad part is we lose about 160,000. We haven't really gained membership since President Shekar, and that was just 1 year. But the scary part to me is we lose 10% of our new members within the first year. And then we lose 50% within the first year and the first 3 years. Now, after 3 years, they're like all of us. They're spending their time at night because they're passionate about Rotary. We're not going to lose them. They have their friends. They're true Rotarians. But we have to work on trying to get them not to leave so quickly. Because, when they leave, Rotary is like any other business. And people coming into Rotary, they join for a certain reason. If we give them what they want, then they stay. If they don't, then they leave. And sometimes when they leave, they haven't had a good experience, so they may not be the best public image folks. So Najid will tell you, is we have to be good with our public image, but a lot of that public image is formed by what they see in the club. And, we're moving in the right direction because these cause-based clubs that we've been focusing on for the last number of years, they are attracting people to Rotary, and they're staying for the cause. And they stay there a little bit longer because of the cause, and then they get to be true Rotarians. It was mentioned the veterans group. When we started that group, a lot of them were there to serve veterans, but they didn't really want to be as much involved in Rotary as we all would be. But then when they heard we helped form the United Nations and we're ending polio and we're for peace, their goals lined up with our goals. And so now they're true Rotarians, just like all of us. So if you have an idea for a new club, maybe Jacqueline will help you. And of course, RI will help you. President Stephanie and I are happy to help. When they do the studies about forming new clubs, it shows that roughly the areas of the world who are growing are the ones starting the new clubs. The areas of the world that are shrinking are not forming new clubs. And the North American director's call a few days ago, Brian King said, I want to get the statistic right. I think it was 52% of our districts have not started a new club in 5 years. So it's interesting. When I started our first club in our district, it's been a while since we started a club, there was a lot of resistance because people think, hey, that's going to take away from our current club. But we got that so much that we asked Brian King to study that. And they did a study, and 88% of members joining a new club are new to Rotary or returning from Rotary. And it can be argued that some of that remaining 12% may have left if they didn't have a new club to go to. So, of course, we have wonderful clubs. And I'm in a traditional club. I would never leave our traditional club. But the new clubs have people serve in a way that's different. My club, I love it to death, and I would never leave it, like I said. But we do things such as we pick up trash along the highway. We make sandwiches for the hungry. And we're always doing new things. We rake leaves for the elderly. But my son has just gone off to college Sunday before last, a week ago, and he is starting up a Rotaract club in Duluth, which is 2.5 miles north of where I live. Their club will be different from our club. They want to focus mostly the people who he's bringing together, mostly want to focus on the environment. It's not that they didn't come and pick up trash. They won't do that, but they would rather focus in one area and have great impact in one area. And that's why these cause-based clubs, especially in our new clubs, are having great success. In our district right now, our two fastest growing clubs are new clubs within the last few years. Our network for global travelers, and then our End Human Trafficking Club. And I have lots of stories that we can tell about this, but I want to get through this presentation so I can get to your questions. So when I look at Rotary today, August 26th, where are the real opportunities? Really, we can form new clubs. That would be a huge, if we do that, we're going to capture more people. It's not that our existing clubs aren't great. They are. But let's face it, a lot of us, I've asked all my friends that I know to come to our club, but sometimes they can't because they can't come to a Tuesday morning They don't want to go to a country club for a breakfast, or they just want to meet at night or on the weekends. Now, the leads program, I think, is going to help us a lot. So that, and I put what area of the three these fall under. So when the new leads come out, we need to work with our clubs to let them know you're going to be getting leads. Let's go ahead. And there'll be a drip campaign, meaning letters and emails will come from Rotary International, but we need to let people know that's there. We need to engage our members by making sure when they come in, we get them on a committee, or we get them with a group of friends, or we bring them in. If we're getting one and they leave, bring them in classes, whatever we need to engage them. And, you know, one of the best things we can do is ask them what they want to do and give that to them. So there's lots of tools out there, right? But one of the things that we really need to do is we need to make sure we're giving our Rotarians what we want. So what I think the easiest thing to do is to do some kind of assessment. Now, Rotary's got 7 different types of assessments, but you don't have to have a long, fancy survey. And if you want to do a membership satisfaction survey, if you want to survey your board of directors or survey the members, we just have to ask. And Rotary often asks us to do it once a year. Why once a year? Because you're constantly having new people join your club, and then you have individuals leaving your club. So after a year, you have a different club than you did right now because the culture has changed, because the people have changed. So, and it could be if you have a large club. Next month, I'm speaking in a club in South Dakota, Sioux Falls, that has 350 people. That type of club, and Atlanta's got 450 people. That type of club, you might want to do an electronic survey. And if you don't like Rotary surveys, you can actually take one of those surveys, put it into another type of database, maybe SurveyMonkey. And if you have a small club, you know, back in 96, our average club size was over 60. Today, worldwide, it's 31. If you have 15 members, maybe you just pick up the phone and call them. And it could be as simple as, do you like where we meet? Do you like when we meet? Do you like how we meet, you know, virtually or in person? Do you like our socials? Do you like our service projects? It could be that simple. And then they're going to feel, your members going to feel like they belong because you asked them. Now, if you actually make one of those changes, then that's great. And the survey does another thing. If you're having a problem in your club, you know, doing a survey could solve that problem. I remember last year I had a president from a club in my area, and he said that half of the people wanted to do away with the 4-way test. And I was like, well, you know, but are you sure? And he goes, well, you know, it seems like half and half. Well, I said, why don't you do a survey, then come back to me and we could talk about it. He did the survey, and only 2 members, and I had most of the members participate. Good response rate. Only 2 members wanted to do away with the 4-way test, but they just happened to be more vocal than the other members. So that's a way that in your districts and zones and clubs, you can solve problems by doing that assessment.
Thank you so much, Tom. It's been very inspiring. Thank you so much, Naveen. Thank you, Rotary Club of Tahrir and all the co-hosts. And I'll just leave it to you, Naveen, for a wrap-up.
Thank you, Tom, for all your time. Really looking forward to maybe more sessions, Tom.